Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the soccer bunker here at the Kansas City Star. I am Charles Gooch, the full 90. This is Sam McDowell. He also writes about Sporting Kansas City for the Kansas City Star. We're both kind of like the soccer duo here. We're here to preview a little bit about the Sporting Kansas City LA Galaxy game this weekend. It's going to be 9:30 Central Time from the StubHub Center in Los Angeles. The Galaxy kind of struggling a little bit this year. They're 2-2 to start the season. Just had an unconvincing 1-0 victory over the Seattle Sounders this weekend in the primetime game on Fox. Kansas City also a little struggling out of the gate. They've got 2 wins, 1 loss, and 3 ties. Coming off of a really kind of a poor 0-0 result this past weekend. This is going to be the first road trip of the new era for Sporting Kansas City in the Western Conference out to LA. This is going to be the first of many. Sam, you've kind of talked to Peter Vermes a little bit about how this team's going to prepare. What does he have to say about this?
Well, there were so many questions in the offseason about how is Sporting Kansas City going to adopt this move to the Western Conference. And Peter always immediately pointed to it's going to be the travel that they're going to have to adjust to the most. Not necessarily the opponents. Sporting's still going to play its own style. They're not going to change based on who they're playing, but they are going to change, some of the travel arrangements they're going to have to do in the sense that a lot of times when they travel to the West Coast, it costs them a training day because it's a long trip out there and they lose a day of training for it. So that's going to be the requirement and change that they're going to have to make based on just, being in the Western Conference this year and playing all these teams so far out west. So as far as how it's going to change the product on the field, I don't think we're going to see that much of a difference. As far as this weekend, I think that you've analyzed this matchup pretty well. And what are your thoughts on exactly how they're going to have to, what they're going to have to do to pull out a win this week?
I think what you're going to see is you're going to see Kansas City play a little more reactively than you've seen them play at Sporting Park. That's sort of been Vermes' MO on the road for the last couple of years, especially against a team like LA that sort of likes to build with the ball at their feet and sort of likes to have possession. The thing that Los Angeles is really lacking this year is there's no Landon Donovan. I mean, he retired and one of the best American players of all time. It's going to be hard to replace him. They've got Irish striker Robbie Keane, who's one of the best strikers in Major League and one of the best chance creators in Major League Soccer. He's been nursing an injury. This might be a really good time for Kansas City to get at them a little bit, but I still expect them to kind of pull back a little bit, especially without Iko Para, who we talked about in a previous video. Without him around, I expect Kansas City to pull back just a little bit more. I think the real tough matchup for Kansas City is going to be if Bruce Arena opts to go with Alan Gordon, who is a bruising central forward. If Kansas City goes with Kevin Ellis, Alan Gordon's got about a 6 or 7 inch height advantage on Kevin Ellis, and Alan Gordon's all elbows and jumps and sort of plays within the boundaries of the game, but just barely, which would be a tough spot for a guy like Kevin Ellis to go to. I expect that Kansas City you'll see a lot of the same lineup that you've seen the past couple weeks with Christian Nemeth. You're going to see Graham Zusi, I think, return to action for this game.
He's been out of training, I should mention, all this week, and he's looked great. So I think we're going to see him on Saturday.
And that'll be a huge addition for Kansas City to have their best chance creator back on the field with them. I think you'll still see Benny Feilhaber. I think you'll see Servando Carrasco and Roger Espinoza kind of reprising their defensive roles. And I think you'll see Kansas City try to surround whomever replaces Iko Para with as much consistency and familiarity as possible. I anticipate this is going to be a very tough game. I don't think it's going to be a very high-scoring game. Both these teams are really struggling offensively early in this season, but it's a matchup of the 2 most recent MLS Cup champions from 2013 and 2014. So it's a high-profile game.
In the sense that, say struggling offensively, Sporting Kansas City sort of is and sort of isn't. They really aren't in the sense that they are creating chances. They're in and around the goal. It's the finishing aspect that's cost them. And we should probably mention along those lines that, Namath hit the post on Saturday against Real Salt Lake. Dom Dwyer scored, but it was a half a yard offside. So they're very close to breaking through.
I was telling you just before we came on that a lot of the advanced statistics love Sporting Kansas City. They think that they're creating at a very high volume. They're just not converting those chances and making them into goals. So I imagine that will come around at some point. The defense has been exceptional for the last couple of weeks, which is also why it's tough to lose a guy like Iko Para right now.
Certainly. And I think, when you say it's about finishing, that you'd always rather have that problem, I think, than have the problem of not creating the chances. I know Peter says that a lot, and they're getting a guy in Graham Zusi that's going to create even more chances. And something with Zusi is that, these 2 weeks off to rest his hamstring, perhaps his foot gets a little bit healthier too, and we see the Graham Zusi of old.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. Hope that helps you guys preview the Los Angeles-Kansas City game. I've been Charles Gooch for the Kansas City Star, joined by Sam McDowell, also of the Kansas City Star. You can check out more of our work on kansascity.com. You can go to either the Sporting KC site or the Full 90. Thanks, guys.